Hello and welcome to Theory of Anything. I am your host, Devon along with my co-hosts, Ford.
Hello.
And Andy, or / Dad, or Paps, or whatever.
Oh, thank you.
I'll give you all the names.
Hello.
Yeah. Obviously today, as always, we're talking about lots of different subjects about, tech, movies, experiences, anything that comes basically up. And hopefully having a nice little discussion, a nice little time. How are you all?
I'm well, thank you. Yeah, good.
Nice.
Thank you very much. I wasn't sure if you were asking me or Ford, but yeah,
both.
Very good. Thank you. Yeah.
I'm feeling pretty good, ready to share some opinions and be all
controversial.
Yeah, controversial.
I think that the listeners might begin to see that Ford is probably the one who is the most controversial.
I don't know what you mean. That's why I'm here, right?
Stir things up a little bit. Challenge our thinking. Yeah.
Well, we'll see.
Yeah, it's good to be behind the microphone again. Yeah, I enjoy this time together, and I hope other people listening enjoy it too. Yeah,
excellent.
Very good. Did anybody want to mention anything after last week's episode? Or episode 2? Not exactly falling into the gaps of weekly, but we're working on that.
It has come to my attention again that although the audio was better, it wasn't as good as we wanted to be.
Not quite there.
So hopefully this episode's better again.
Yeah, indeed.
Third time's
step
a charm.
By step, small steps. Yeah.
That's
the way it goes. Yeah, and it was a little long. It was we could not get it to within an hour, unfortunately, which is our goal. The what's the word I'm looking for?
Ideal.
But what occurred to me was this doesn't really help the YouTube listeners, but it will help anybody listening on one of our many. I meant to check. We're on quite a few different podcast platforms.
Yes.
I'll just read through them quickly. We're on Spotify, Pocket Cast, Breaker, Public Radio. Radio Public, Apple Podcast, Podbeam, Overcast, Google Podcast, and Castbox. We're hoping to be on Stitcher, but perhaps somebody can let us know if we're on Stitcher yet. So if you're listening on any of those, I understand that you can, in fact, speed up
for most
the playback. Yeah. And I tried that on the particular platform I like to use, which is Overcast. And I got through the 1 hour 9 minutes in 50 minutes, so that's well within the hour, isn't it? And actually, I think it sounded much better. We all sounded a lot more confident and as if we knew what we were talking about a bit.
Do we not normally anyway? That's good.
So that's a little tip for anybody who hasn't got enough time to listen to a over the hour length show for future.
In fact, you can do that on YouTube as well. So that's,
can you?
Oh, yes,
right. Actually, you can.
Sorry, I didn't realise that. Not being a big YouTuber, but yeah. Okay. Yeah. Big tip for everyone then.
Yeah. There you go.
Lovely.
Shall we get on with it then?
Yeah, straight off the bat.
Ford's segment. Subject.
Now for my 10 minutes on the soapbox. I want to talk about fan theories and, more specifically, film fan theories.
Oh.
Even more specifically than that, sci-fi film fan theories.
Oh, this gets better.
It's just,
I didn't even know what fan theories meant, so now I'm still not 100%. I'm still not 100%, but I'm intrigued now. I've sat closer to the edge of my seat in anticipation.
Well, I'm going to give you guys a premise based on a film, and I'm going to back it up with some evidence. And you basically tell me at the end if you're convinced by this premise that isn't necessarily laid down in the film, but interactive, yeah.
Nice.
And not of views. You can only interrupt, right, if you have something funny to say, because that's our shtick.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's fine. You can interrupt. It's fine. I probably should have mentioned this quite a while ago. None of these theories are mine, in fact. Yes, no, that sounds like effort and work, and we don't do that sort of thing around here, do we? Yeah. Don't want to raise the quality of the show too high.
Definitely not.
To start off, I wanted to talk about E.T. Do you remember E.T.? Either of you?
Yeah,
of course.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Now the idea is that E.T. is in fact a Jedi.
Oh.
Yeah, you like them apples?
Okay.
What kind of websites do you visit?
I don't know what you're talking about. Okay, so here's
like a Yoda gone wrong, is it? Or
well,
overweight Yoda.
he does factor into it because in the E.T. film, you see there's a particular section where E.T.'s walking out of the house. He's got this blanket over his head. He's a ghost or whatever, and it's there are a load of kids out trick or treating, and he goes past a kid who's dressed up as Yoda. And
he chases after him.
He does. He's looking at all these random people, and then he sees Yoda, and then Yoda walks by, and he starts going after Yoda
towards him,
as if he recognises him. Okay. Now, in the film E.T., you see E.T. using this healing ability. Yeah, we've seen that in Star Wars, and also the flying bike.
Yeah,
right. You could use the Force to fly.
Yeah.
And probably the best piece of best evidence there would be the fact that you see E.T.'s relatives, or even E.T. himself, in Star Wars. In episode 1.
You do. In the council chamber. Great big council. I remember that because I paused it and rewound it to check it was true. Yeah.
There you go. Yeah.
Alright, so there is a crossover in the universe. Yeah.
Indeed. So the E.T. film universe is based in the Star Wars universe.
It is.
Yeah. What do you think?
That doesn't make sense.
Why not? Tell me.
Because E.T.'s based it was based like I don't know what 30 years, 40 years ago, something like that.
Okay.
When Star Wars is a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away.
Yes, but E.T.'s species can heal.
E.T.'s species.
Yeah, you like that. So they can heal. They don't necessarily ever die. Do you know what I'm saying?
Right.
They
could travel a long way in a long time, and they'll be fine.
Right.
And he finds his way to Earth, you know?
I suppose.
How would you like that?
Yeah.
I was thinking perhaps the E.T. is a further down the generation's version of a Jedi that's gone flabby and is not as agile anymore.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It's
kind of eccentric as well.
Yeah, but what is Yoda?
He's Yoda. His species is Yoda.
No, there's another Yoda-esque character in the council.
Is there?
Yaddle.
Who's also called Yoda.
And she's called Yaddle.
Yaddle.
But have they got a species name?
No. George Lucas has gone out of his way to not actually give his species a name. To keep it a mystery.
Yeah.
So maybe Yoda is a very, very special and unusual E.T.
Oh, sort of like an E.T. gone wrong.
Yeah,
like
a super E.T. Yeah.
It's possible, I suppose.
But you see, we didn't even think of Yoda as being very physical until we see him do that amazing scene with the acrobatics in 2 and 3. So in all the other earlier episodes,
no one likes that, do they?
Nobody knew that. Don't they like that? They don't think it's real Yoda. Okay.
I like it because I was brought up on it, but
Well, we're not going back to that conversation, are we?
No, we've been there. That's first one.
Yeah. Okay. It's an
do you guys?
interesting idea, isn't it?
I heard
a
theory that E.T. Was actually just a senile old guy from his race, and they dropped him off on Earth trying to get rid of him. That's why he's so
wow.
They left him behind on purpose.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So
get rid of the weak and the elderly. Yeah.
So when you see the other guys, they can speak English and all that good stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Oh.
So do you guys buy that? Do you think he's a Jedi?
I'm gonna have to give it a pass on this one.
Oh no! Wow. Okay.
I'd like to think it's possible, but
he's
he's
got the abilities.
Yeah, it smacks a bit of desperation of people trying to find things that might not be there, and the creators never intended to be. But the interesting
George Lucas intended it to be in Star Wars.
Yeah.
and Yoda was in the ET film.
Exactly. That's until you've mentioned that, I was less convinced. But you see, George Lucas and Steven Spielberg, who created E.T., were like big rivals in the early 80s when they were both in their prime, if you like, of filmmaking. Wow. And they, for Lucas to put E.T. in that episode, the episode 4, was it when we first see E.T., or the only time we saw the E.T.s in the council chamber?
Episode between 1.
Was that yeah, but you know what I mean. Yeah. That was quite a big thing. I'm just realising that. I didn't realise how big that would have been. I think Lucas and Spielberg weren't necessarily I think they were friends, but you were kind of
never really worked together, did they?
They were kind of in competition against each other as far as how big their films were going to be.
Yes. Well, anyway, this is the micro theory, doesn't it? We don't want to focus on this one too much.
No. Okay, so move on. Yeah,
right. Okay. So that's a big fail on that one then. Okay. Right. Okay.
Yeah, half convinced. Yeah.
How about this one? Star Trek. You like a bit of Star Trek?
I do like a bit of Star Trek. Yeah.
How do you feel about the Federation being fascist?
I said this earlier.
Now, somebody said that, didn't they? You said that when I said about the future in 200 years being so wonderful, like Star Trek future.
I said Star Trek with like a one world order, didn't I?
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, I'm 100% convinced.
Now, I don't even need to give the evidence.
No, well, do anyway.
Okay. Thank you very much. Okay, so obviously we only ever see Star Trek from the point of view of the Federation anyway.
Yeah.
Because it's always the captains doing their star logs and whatever, it's all good. But if we look a little deeper, so they're all about exploration, aren't they?
Yeah.
Now, historically, exploration has always been either to get resources for the Empire or to spread the Empire, right?
Okay.
Which is all fun and dandy. There's quite a few episodes where you see them trying to get the mining rights for all this area or whatever. There's always trouble like that. Now, fascism... I forgot to get a definition of fascism. Does someone want to give me a definition of fascism?
It's a form of far-right authoritarian ultra-nationalism characterized by dictatorial power, forcible suppression of opposition, and strong regimentation of society and of the economy, which came to prominence in the early 20th century Europe.
Thank you very much. Okay, so the Federation, if you watch a lot of it, I've watched about probably half of all of it, I imagine anyway, is my guess. Federation are in control of all the transportation, communication. They're in charge of the news. There's only 2 news stations on Earth, and they're both Federation ones.
Yeah.
They're in charge of justice and court system. You see that in
dictatorial.
It does, yes. Spock in the one of the new reboots or whatever. They don't keep Kirk around when they want to put him in the brig or whatever. They send him off, and Spock just says, "Get him off my ship. It's no good."
Forcible suppression of opposition.
Yeah. They are the military, aren't they?
Yeah.
They're in charge of the economy. Well, they've kind of got rid of economy because there is no money in the Federation. Right. They trade with other species with gold plus platinum, but within the Federation there is no money.
Strong regimentation of society and the economy.
There you go.
Isn't that more socialism though? Socialism is everybody being equally provided for, isn't it? No rich, no poor.
Well, the thing is, with money, we have an ability to vote with our wallets, don't we? There's a democracy in that. And without money, there's no ability to vote, do what you want, if you know what I mean.
Now, we have to be very careful here, because I was going to mention something that I think throws at your fascism thing right out the window.
Okay.
2 words, right?
Yeah.
But I'm also going to initiate this in regards to our policy on this podcast, and that is the words prime directive.
Yeah. Okay.
Star Trek's prime directive, and we'll come back to it in a moment, but also theory of anything's prime directive, we don't talk about politics.
Oh no, that's not good, is it?
But the Star Trek. Well, okay, so let's be careful now. Okay.
All right. I don't think anyone thinks fascism's good, so I don't.
But for a moment, let's go back to the Star Trek Prime Directive, which I've just brought up in front of me. The Prime Directive is a prohibition on interference with the other cultures and civilizations' representatives of Starfleet encounter in their exploration of the universe. So, in other words, really, it's about not interfering.
But is that just a smoke screen?
Yes. Because if you didn't want to interfere with other people, why would you go out with other people?
Eh? Say again.
If you didn't want to... Sorry, go
on. You can say, like, okay, so for other species and civilizations, they're okay, that's separate. But all of the civilizations on Earth and in the Sol system, as it's called,
or in the Federation,
they're all controlled by one world government. That's very fascism.
Well, I don't understand the line between fascism and totalitarianism. They both sound very similar to me, but there you go. One of them. I would like to give you a Hitler quote, if I may.
Well, this is it. They kind of most well-known aspects of fascism is, what Nazi Germany was hoping to achieve, wasn't it? A one world order under one government, and that would have been their goal, wouldn't it, if it succeeded? Anyway, so you want to quote Hitler to us now?
Yeah, if you don't mind.
Go for At the risk of breaking our Prime Directive.
Yeah,
carry on.
That's what you got me here for, remember?
Controversy. Okay.
Society's needs comes before the needs of the individual. Apparently, that's something you said. You remember what Spock says all the time? The needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few.
Yeah. You're saying Spock is Hitler?
I'm saying that breeds the same sort of ideas and ideals. That
the needs of the many outweigh the needs
of the few.
Of the few. Yeah.
And also you've got Scotty in the last. Was it the last? Yeah, it was the last film on Beyond when he's trying to convert Kayla, I think her name is. He gives a little. He gives a bundle of sticks metaphor. He says one stick on its own breaks easy, and the bundle of sticks is stronger than alone. Essentially, apparently, that's essentially what fascism translates as: a bundle of sticks. There you go. It's a proverb from that area.
Shattering my great fanhood of the whole Star Trek universe.
Yeah,
you may have a point. You may have a
Oh.
point. I'm not.
I
again.
100% agree with you, Floyd.
Now, I would like. I've got one more point.
Okay.
In that same film, you got Crawl. He's the bad guy. He gets, according to him at least, he gets sent to this planet and essentially dumped there because he disagrees with the Federation's policies, which is a very fascist thing to do. Apparently, they don't like any sort of opposition in that area.
Yeah.
It's forcible suppression of opposition.
There you go. Words. Thank you.
But I remember episodes of the TV series, especially where a diverse array of views is welcomed. You know,
views.
Yeah.
I ain't seen this.
Well, I think that, like Devon said, I think that's a smokescreen to get get people into the Federation, and then once they're in, you know.
I've seen a diverse array of species working inside the Federation, all this kind of thing. But I haven't seen a diverse array of views and political opinions and parties and things like that.
Well, look at the first one that comes to spring to mind off the top of my head is Worf being welcomed onto the crew of the Enterprise. Okay, the Klingon warrior. Now, his outlook on life was very different to the human. And there was many other species, alien species, welcomed into the Federation.
But he has to play by their rules.
Exactly.
But they're unable to keep their traditions and their and their other.
As long as it was not opposition to the
Okay.
the
Well,
Federation.
perhaps we can close this one off with just me saying you've challenged me a little bit, and what I'm going to try and do is begin, and I won't get this done before the next episode, and that is to do what I've been meaning to do, and to re-watch all of the movies. I have every Star Trek movie on DVD.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, I haven't got all the TV episodes on DVD of all the different series, but I do have all the films, and I've been meaning to re-watch them, and hopefully in doing that I will be looking out for evidence of fascism within the. But I think Gene Roddenberry, who was the creator of Star Trek, he would be crawling in his grave to think that he was writing turning in his grave rather.
Yeah. Well, it's because what he envisioned for the future and for Star Trek is utopia. Whereas utopia is impossible in that kind of sense. Because there are people who stray against the common theme. Not everyone is of one mind, as it's depicted in the Federation. It just doesn't happen unless you forcibly make that happen, like in North Korea.
Well, we've really gone well over our remit of not talking about politics. But did you have one more point to make, Ford? Or
no, I think that's it. I did want to also say I was going to give you the Pixar theory, which is pretty epic, but that's so long and elaborate. I don't know if you've heard of it.
Well, we could allow you to come back to this on another episode, perhaps, if you've got a couple of good other points to make.
All right.
Challenge our thinking on
Fan Film Theory Part 2.
Fan Film Theory Part 2, Okay, so that's just in summary then. E.T. is a Jedi, and Star Trek is the Federation is run by fascists.
Or totalitarians. I can't really tell the difference.
Okay. You've blown it all out the water.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Ford.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Devon's segment. Subject.
Okay, I want to talk about something that's not really under our umbrella, but something that's quite it's quite big on my mind right now, and I was wondering if you guys had any opinions or any experiences.
Okay.
I'm around
Outside
a lot.
the box.
Oh yes. So it's not tech, it's not games and films. It's about workmen. And workmen. I'm experiencing lots of workmen these days. I'm seeing like 5 different workmen every day, and they're all got very, very different characters, but all very unique characters. And I was wondering if you guys had any experiences or interesting experiences with workmen or anything like that, because we've had it. They've lost things. They've shown up 3 hours late and said, "Oh, you should have told me. I should have been here earlier," and and all this kind of thing, and just having lots of general chit chat when you kind of just want them to get on with the work.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was wondering if you guys had any experiences at all.
Oh, so you speaking that your experience of tradesmen, is it?
Exactly.
You're referring to, has been quite negative, isn't it?
Well, I don't know. They're very, very friendly, but sometimes they're too friendly. It's like, okay, just do the work.
Get on with it, Put your cup of tea down and get on with it. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I guess it is a
it's very
perception.
Yeah, it's very different from what I've experienced in other professions. So obviously, I work a lot around people who are in the criminal justice system, and right now I work a lot in retail as well. And it's very, very professional. Very I have to act this way while I'm on duty. X, Y, and Z. Where when with tradesmen and workmen who come into my house, they seem very relaxed a lot of the time, and they kind of just do what they want.
Okay.
And I've never seen that before.
Really? I guess these people are they self-employed, or are they working for a larger organisation?
Most of them are self-employed, but some maybe 50-50. Yeah, I'd say 50.
Yeah.
I can understand how that would happen if you're employing self-employed people, because they don't feel like they have a boss. They can. Yeah. I guess there's a feel of just being able to do whatever you want.
Possibly.
I'm not so sure. I immediately would say the opposite, but I might prove to be wrong. I think that self-employed people probably have a higher what's the word I'm looking for? I keep losing my words today. A higher
Job satisfaction or pride in job,
or
Investment.
wish to please, because
Yeah.
it's down to them and them alone.
Yeah.
They might have a one or two people working for them, but as a self-employed person myself, I think I provide a service that would be well thought of to my customers, because they matter to me. I'm not doing it for anybody else. I'm doing it for my reputation. Reputation. Your reputation is dependent on you and you alone as a self-employed person. Whereas if you work for an organisation, whether it be a medium or large size company, if you don't turn up early on time, what's the big deal? It's not, you still get paid at the end of the week. Yeah, it can be frustrating, can't it?
Yeah. I mean, and they're rarely like unprofessional in that sense of like not doing the job or being very, very late. But for instance, we've got this one guy who's in a lot now. His name's Andrew, actually. And he's a very interesting character. He always asks Rebecca about her wedding ring and engagement ring and that kind of thing, and how she's doing and all this kind of thing. It's very strange.
He asks her that every week? Every day?
Every day he asks her something.
Okay, yeah. I became a bit worried if it was every time he came around.
It's always like, oh, how are you doing? Like, or how's uni going? What's kind of thing. It's like, you're not really, I don't know, you're a nice guy and all this, but you're not our friend that we're trying to catch up.
Getting a bit too personal.
But I don't know. It's nice, but it's a bit too nice, I don't know.
I don't have a lot of experience with these sorts of people, but our boilerman came round the other week, and he was a bit grumpy, I guess, is what I'd say. But maybe it was a bit early for him, I don't know. But when you've got a customer-facing role, I feel like you kind of need to step it up, don't you?
That's what I think.
I think in a bigger company, if you get any complaints about that, because I imagine you'd get a lot because it's a bigger company, then you get fired. So with self-employed, you don't fire yourself, do you?
No. But I don't know, if you're self-employed, I see what you're saying. I kind of agree with both of you actually somehow, but it kind of, when you're self-employed, it comes straight back to you.
Yeah.
Like, it's your company and it's your reputation, like 100% your reputation. But I guess, as you say, you don't get fired if you mess up because you employ yourself.
There was an experience that my wife had the other day, which was involving a member of the NHS. Her role in working with the elderly, and particular, I can't go into any detail, but the encounter with a member, a staff within the NHS, was a negative one, and a complaint had to be made because of this person's attitude. Now, there's a couple of things that could be at play there. It could be my wife's client's attitude isn't always the best, and so that can sometimes wind people up, but also the member of staff or the NHS worker also could have been having a bad day, and when two different circumstances clash or meet, then people can sometimes act out of character, can't they? That's on the negative. You're talking about overly familiar and overly friendly perhaps, but so I don't think there's any definites on this, is there? It's just hopefully you find good people to do a good job, work well and quick.
I mean, I have no complaints about their work and their commitment to the projects and everything like that. They're very, very good people and very good tradesmen for sure. But it's very, very awkward. It's not, well, maybe it is awkward, but it's a very different dynamic than I was expecting from like professionals.
Okay. Well, in that, we're talking about another phrase that's often used is the blue collar workers. So you've got your white collar workers who wear a suit and tie for a living, and your blue collar workers who wear overalls, if you like. And blue collar workers probably are a bit more relaxed in their approach and a bit more friendly, perhaps less. What does professionalism look like in those two different
exactly
aspects?
Because to them that might be expected.
Yeah. I mean, as long as it's not, you see, you'll also see a whole different behaviour amongst on a like a building site. I've worked on building sites, where you've got workmen working with workmen, and there's no customer to be seen. It's not customer facing. You are on a project, and it's a very different environment there than a builder working on a customer's site, a private residency, where you are interacting with the actual paying customer. Whereas if you're a builder working on a big housing contract or an industrial site, you aren't seeing the paying customer, are you? And the banter and the language and everything else can leave a lot to be desired,
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I don't know if it's an interesting topic. It doesn't fall necessarily within our
No, it doesn't.
remit, but if it's on your mind, then that's important to share. But
Okay.
I would be cautious to get too close. I think in
Of
working.
course.
We had a kitchen fitter last year, and he was a brilliant guy, Eastern European chap, and he did a fantastic job. He was very professional. We were very friendly towards him, but there was a sense of he wasn't going to get pally with us because he had a job to do, and he worked long hours, and he got our kitchen done in a great way in a quick time, But if you want, sometimes perhaps the opposite. We were stopping, making him a cup of tea, and hoping he'd stop and have a chat, but he just cracked on with it,
Yeah.
Maybe he didn't like you.
Yeah, maybe didn't. Anyway, Any other thoughts, Ford, on that?
No, not really. I haven't had a lot of experience with tradesmen, I have to say.
Okay. Apart from your boiler man.
Yeah. that guy.
And he was grumpy. Okay. Thanks then, Devon.
Paps. Segment. Subject.
Right. Okay. So we come to my section now. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about one of my hobbies. For the last 4 or 5 years, probably, I've been collecting, as I know you both know, a particular type of DVD Blu-ray, and that is films that have been nominated for Best Picture for the Oscars, the Academy Award Oscars, and particularly in mind the Best Picture nominations. In total, currently, that would include, if the whole collection was complete, 563 titles.
Oof.
And
Wow.
quite a lot. And that goes back to 1927, when the first Academy Awards took place in 1927. We're currently on the 92nd Academy Awards, and and I have at this point got 285 of those 563, which, funnily enough, is 50.62%.
Yeah, that's about halfway, isn't it?
Yeah, well done. Your maths is excellent. Well done. Yeah. So I began this collection, as I say, about 4 or 5 years ago. Well, I don't really know why I hit upon it. I hoped, and I think I'm right in saying that if I develop this collection of films, I'll be picking the cream of the crop, if you like, in terms of quality filmmaking. I know that's not always true. Some of the Oscar nominations aren't always well thought of.
Yes, I did want to ask about that. Whether you feel like does it feel to you like it seems a bit biased or rigged?
You see, the Hollywood society, which are not just responsible for the selection. For example, this year's Oscars noms, which were announced on the 13th of January last week, there's 24 different categories, of which I'm only really primarily interested in one, the best picture category. 38 different films. So I think over those 24 categories, I think if you were to look at that list of 38 films, you wouldn't say that there's anything particularly missing out of all of those categories. Now, what falls into what category is another question in mind. You look at the top. There's 9 up this year for the 2019 year of films. Those 9 nominations for Best Picture, a lot of people would say, "Oh, well, why isn't there such and such there? Why is that particular one there in place of another?" That's debatable. That's always going to be down to taste, isn't it, and preference.
Yeah.
I look at that list and think, yeah, they're a good bunch of films, But when I looked through when I looked through the other 29 films that aren't nominated for Best Picture, there are some big exclusions. I'm not going to go through them now, but anybody who wants to, I'm sure, will Google that and look at what didn't get nominated. There's a lot that could have got worthy of nomination for Best Picture. Yeah, so my hope is that by getting this collection put together, I probably will have a good quality. What do I mean by quality? I think I like films that make me think. I like action films. I like, as I've said before, Crash Bang Wallop, but a film that makes me think, that challenges my opinions and really gives me something to
chew on.
That you can't get out your head.
Like a Star Trek fan theory, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, last week I went to see Just Mercy. Now, that isn't a nomination in this year's category, but I hope it is for next year's Oscars. Just Mercy was a fabulous film. It was all about a black guy on death row and a black lawyer who was putting himself out there to help those people on death row in America. Now you go away with a huge about stuff to consider, and I think a lot of the films that I like are like that. Where you, yeah.
Do you have much time for? So you've got films that make you think. What about films that make you feel? Is that interesting that interests you as well, or is it mostly just think?
No, I've got quite a. I don't. I love sci-fi, but I love I went to see Little Women with my wife the other day. A great love story, powerful, moving, shed a tear.
Yeah.
I think as long as a film stimulates an emotion of some sort. Even I'm not a big fan of horror, but I like thrillers. So if it gives you a bit of an edge and a bit of excitement and be a bit scary, then it's done its job. If a comedy doesn't make you laugh, then it's not done its job, has it? But if a comedy can make you laugh, then it's done its job. That's my thought on what makes a good film. Yeah. What was I going to say? So anyway, these DVDs, and I tend to scour charity shops is where I've got most of them from. It's a great way of buying films if anybody's never noticed it, but the DVD shelf in the charity shops can have some great options on there.
Bargains as well.
Yeah, bargains. I've had best bargains like 20p each. So my collection so far. Now, I did mean to bring it up, but some of the older ones I've got, as I say, that 50% is probably covered the easy ones. Now I'm getting a bit harder now. I've got all of the ones from the 2000s, 84% of the ones from the 1990s, 80% of the ones from the 2010s. But then when you go further back, the 1930s, I've only got 11% of those.
Can you have those anymore?
Yeah, do you know if you come upon them?
Yeah, no, I've found most of them are available to buy. I've not found any that are not available to buy, but some of them are like 80 quid on eBay and Amazon, So I'm reluctant to go and purchase those, the particularly rare ones. People know they're rare, so their value is a lot higher,
Yeah.
Yeah. But I've got the first one from 1927, which is a film called Wings. I bought that from eBay. Yeah. And some of the earlier ones, All Quiet on the Western Front was one from 1929. Yeah, some great films, and I enjoy watching them as well. I haven't watched all of them yet, I must admit, but I'm looking forward to watching them all.
Yeah.
So that's my collection. I did want to quickly talk because, as I say, the nominations were announced last week. So we've got. Shall I just quickly read you the nominations for Best Picture?
Yep.
Of course.
I'll read these in order of the number of total nominations they got, roughly. Anyway, so the most nominated or the least nominated film was Ford versus Ferrari.
Cool.
So that's good, isn't it, Ford?
Yeah.
Well, not that it was the least nominated. Yeah. Yeah, your namesake in that title.
Try not to be too hilarious. I've only got one player this round.
I can't confess to have watched all these films, but I hope to have done before too long. That had 4 nominations. Then there's a lot with 6 nominations. Jojo Rabbit, which I watched the other day, which actually stands a reasonably good chance of doing well. It's thought to be the best of this bunch by some people. Little Women, I've already mentioned, got 6 nominations. Marriage Story got 6 nominations. Sorry, interrupt me if you want to. Yeah, carry on.
Okay.
Carry on, yeah.
No, it's too late now. It's too late.
What? No,
We've moved on.
Little Women. No, Little Women.
Is that a Borrowers spin-off, do you think?
Borrowers.
Yeah, with the little people. Oh,
Very funny.
that did not land. Landed upside down, that one.
I'm lost. It's going over my head. What do you mean?
The Borrowers. So it's a film where
Borrowers,
it's a bunch of little people.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. It wasn't
No,
worth
it's not. No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't.
it. You should have carried on.
Something cleverer than that.
Oh, gee.
Sorry, Ford. No.
All right then.
No, it's a good film though. Yeah, we went the other day and saw it. It's a great film.
Jolly good.
Marriage Story, I haven't seen. That got 6 nominations. Parasite, which actually is a lot of people's favourite. It's a foreign language film, I think. I don't know much else about it. Got 6 nominations, but this is the weird thing. You see, it got only 6 nominations, but it's likely or could very easily win Best Picture. And what was next? 9 nominations for 1917, which I think will probably win. I think that's the one that will win.
Have you seen that?
Yes, I have. Yeah, I went last week to see it. And I'm going again on Sunday to watch it with my brother in the IMAX cinema.
Gotcha.
It lends itself well to IMAX, I think, and my brother hasn't seen it yet. So
I assume you think it's good then if you go back.
yeah, oh, definitely. I'll go there and see that again, definitely. Yeah, it's a great film. And it's great because of it's the opening sequence almost, anyway, is about a 20-minute single shot of the journey from the trenches, the Allied trenches, into the enemy line trenches, and it's almost a single shot all the way.
Wow.
So that was quite an impressive sequence, that was.
Yeah.
And 1917, I think I would like that to win. What's next? Got a few with 10 nominations. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Oh, yes.
Have either of you seen that?
I've seen that, yeah.
Yeah, I thought you had. What was your thoughts on that?
I liked it. I mean,
Yeah.
a lot of people didn't like it because it felt like it wasn't really going anywhere. But I felt like it was going somewhere the entire film. And then it
Quentin
kind of,
Tarantino
yeah.
film. Yeah.
And then it arrived.
Some people love
arrived.
that. Yeah.
yeah, but it was really, really good. I thought anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I haven't seen it yet, but I
It's,
really.
it's interesting. It's different type of It's not your average journey. Anyway.
No. Okay.
It's
Oh,
interesting.
I look forward to seeing that then. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because obviously these have been nominated, I've got to buy them, so I will be watching it at some point.
Yes.
Then the next one with the most nominations is The Irishman. I don't know a great deal about that, but again, that's been getting some great reviews. The Irishman. And then the one with the most reviews is The Joker. Got the most nominations, not the most reviews. The most nominations was The Joker.
Wow.
It's
Have
interesting.
either of
Told
you
you it's
seen,
good.
you've seen it? Yeah?
You ever seen it?
I
liked
had
it.
some.
Tell us a bit about the Joker. What your thoughts were on it?
Ford it first.
Okay, I had some. It's pretty good. I enjoyed it. I think I would have enjoyed it more if it wasn't a Joker film. If it was just a guy, but I don't think it would have got as much traction then. So they're doing their thing, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah, but it just didn't feel like the Joker.
It's not a superhero film, is it?
No.
It wasn't never meant to be. If you go in expecting to see a DC superhero film, then
Exactly.
If it was a film that was just about a guy losing his mind, then I'd been well into it. I probably wouldn't have seen it, but it would have made sense then.
Yeah, but
To me.
you can't judge one film off on the basis of other films that have come out
No, but
before.
he is a character. He's playing because they've called him the Joker. He is the Joker. You can't just change the character completely and then.
It's the Joker's development. Yeah. So it's not a vat of acid or whatever it was before, which I think it was actually that, wasn't it? Or something.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
It's an actual proper development, an actual good storyline. It's the same with Spider-Man remakes, all this kind of thing. Everything's a little bit different, but in this case, it's quite a lot different. But I think it's a good change, and he's not trying to fight Batman or anything yet, because Batman's like 12 years old. So there's no issue. I think it's all good. I think it's a great film.
interesting.
I think it made you feel what he was feeling. I think he did an excellent job acting. A lot of people didn't really like the part that he was given, but I think he did a very, very good job.
Agreed. It is a good film. I just have disagreements, is all.
I think if it doesn't win Best Picture, then I'm sure he'll win Best Actor.
Yeah.
Because
I'd say so.
I feel confident about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's this year's nominations, or the nominations from last year's films. As I say, I think I'd like 1917 to win, but I have a feeling that Parasite might win, a film I've not seen yet. So we shall see, won't we?
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
So I just wanted to let people know that I'm passionate about films and quality cinema, really.
Yeah.
So no Endgame then.
No, Endgame is in the nominations, but not for Best Picture. As I said earlier, 38 films across 24 categories.
Gosh.
So I think all the best films from last year are in there somewhere, but they won't necessarily be Best Picture. Yeah, sorry.
Wow.
I
Is all I have
don't
to
think
do
it should
about
be, to be honest.
Yeah. It's interesting, isn't it?
What do you know, huh?
I watched it.
Some people are saying that Joker's in there because of Dark Knight was overlooked however many years ago it was when that came out, and that was the best up to now DC film that could have been nominated. It got nominations in other categories, Dark Knight did, but it didn't get nominated for Best Picture, so they're making up for the fact that Dark Knight should have been nominated for Best Picture.
Should it?
It was the best Batman film, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the best Batman film, but that's not me saying much.
It is this guy.
Ouch!
Doesn't like his superheroes, does he?
Superhero films generally aren't that good of quality storytelling.
Well, that used to be the
other
case.
films that are there. It seems like comedy films aren't great at storytelling.
Yeah.
I mean, what can I say?
I think that's changed, honestly.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'd like to see the change, but
whatever. You do you. Follow your dreams.
Thanks.
Wear a seatbelt. Whatever.
Okay, gents. We're going to have to draw that to a close because I think my time's up on that. We're trying to be better on our timekeeping this episode. Thank you. Hopefully that's given you, well, I don't know, it's given you anything to think about. I'm not challenging your thinking in any way at all, have I? No, it's just something that's on my heart, and because it was the nomination announcements this week, I thought it's as good a week as any, isn't it, to let you all know how it's going. Yeah. Good. Thank you. Thank you very much.
And now it's time for Random Chatting.
Okay,
right. And I guess now it's time for the Random Chat segment. Last week, it was suggested that we listen to Dark Side of the Moon by Pink Floyd, the whole album.
The whole album?
Yeah, the whole album. Can you believe it? We're listening to an album.
Such effort.
Oh, come on. It was only 40-something minutes.
You recommended
Was it?
lying
Was
there
it
in a
really?
dark room with headphones in, but
I did.
I will admit I did not do that.
No,
Oh.
that's crazy.
Well, you missed a treat if you didn't do that.
Did you?
Yeah, I did. Twice, yeah.
Wow.
I listened to it once
Were
with
you falling
stuff
asleep?
going on around me, and twice in a darkened room, yeah.
Gosh. I don't know. Should
Okay,
I
who's
start?
Yeah, you start then. Go on, you start.
I mean, I think it's a really, really good album, of course, and it's got some really good music in there. But I feel like by the time you get to like track like 7, 8, 9, 10, it's a bit samey and it's kind of a bit boring.
Oh!
I think the beginning and like the middle are very, very good. And it's very interesting everything they're doing, all the instruments that are going on. But the last bit is, I don't really particularly like it. There's not much going on. It's not a lot happening.
I would look to point out it's very music heavy. I don't think there's a lot of lyrics.
No, there isn't. No, it's not a lot of lyric. It's not a lyrical.
Yeah. Which is kind of meh for me, to be honest.
Isn't it? Oh, really?
Yeah, Rebecca said the same thing as well.
Yeah, but the lyrics that are there are so well written.
Oh, for our listener, FYI, it is an explicit album, so you want to. If you're sensitive to that sort of thing, you want to watch it.
There's only a few swear words.
A few.
Yeah,
it's not that bad.
There are people out there like me who try and avoid.
Who are sensitive.
Yeah.
Sensitive ears. Okay.
You set me up for that, didn't you?
Yeah.
Did we want to go through this blow by blow in terms of?
Well, no. You. Anything else, Devon? You want to say?
I mean,
we don't have to. Not going to explore every track.
I mean, of course, you've got Money, the iconic bass line of Money. Obviously, it's always got my plus in there, thumbs up. You can't really deny that it is, as I say, iconic, and I enjoyed it a lot listening to it again. But yeah, I thought the progression was really good until you got to the end, basically.
Okay.
The one I listened to, I don't know if it was like a remastered version or something like that, but a lot of the tracks flowed constantly into each other.
They did.
There was only a few where it actually stopped and started.
Yeah.
They really did sort of flow, which I found quite interesting, but a bit confusing when I'm writing my notes. So it wasn't very helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to pick up on that as well, but anyway, carry on, Ford. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Unless Devon hadn't finished.
I'd finished, yeah. I mean,
okay.
I think generally it's quite spooky. There's a lot of laughing or screaming, or it's just weird in general, I think.
Yeah. I mean, I think obviously there's a little bit that I can remember that's got like the laughing and that kind of thing, but I didn't think that was, to me, it was more swingy, and it felt like a very jazz environment. I don't know. Maybe I wasn't listening to it in a dark room enough.
Yeah.
Those blinds weren't fully shut. That's the problem.
You didn't get wrapped up in the whole trip of it. You see.
I think I did. I mean, maybe not as much as I should have, but for the bit, the big bit that I did enjoy. I was like on that journey. I was feeling that kind of thing. I was walking down to the town or whatever. But yeah, I did enjoy it quite a lot.
Good.
I think for me, I enjoyed the music. Is all good. I'm happy with that.
I thought you'd enjoy the guitar, especially.
Yes, there's a lot of bass. I like the bass.
Yeah.
Because I kind of play it sort of.
You're a bass player. Yeah.
Yes, but I think if you haven't got lyrics,
it's all about the bass.
What's the point?
If you haven't got lyrics, what's the point?
Yeah. You think the only reason for music is lyrics? Ooh.
Well, if you're trying to convey an idea, it's just not.
Do that with music.
Can
you?
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
Yeah. Don't you? I think so.
Watch Disney. Watch anything that's got orchestral music in the background. It is telling the story in the music in the background for you.
And it's very much open to interpretation, though, isn't it?
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, it's not.
One
day I went to the shops kind of music. I just tell you exactly what happened, but it's like an emotional music.
Can I just read you something from some webpage I found?
Please do.
Yeah, it talks about the album in general. It says it explores the themes of conflict, greed, time, death, mental illness, and the latter partly mental illness, the latter partly inspired by the deteriorating health of the founding member Syd Barrett, who departed the group in 1968. So that was a member of the band. Obviously this came out in 1973. I mean, the production on it is just amazing. I think 1973, when you listen, especially that
it doesn't
opening,
sound like that, does it? Yeah.
No, the opening 10 minutes, it starts so quietly you almost think, have I got my volume right or something?
Yep.
You know,
I
you can't hear it. You think, what's going on here?
Did we all listen to it on Amazon Music?
Yes,
I did.
and there is
it's sort of a remastered one, is it?
It's the only you can't. That's the only disappointment I had. I couldn't listen to the original version. That isn't available on Amazon Music, so that's a bit frustrating. The only is the remastered version of it. Yeah, the my favourite track. I know Money's great, but my favourite track is Time. I think that's just before Money, or two before Money.
That one had a bit of a Western feel, I thought.
Yeah. I
don't know, it's just me, but there you go.
And then it's followed. It's the ideas behind that was quite impressive. The lyrics, followed by The Great Gig in the Sky, is the title of that, with that wonderful, I've forgotten the name of the female vocalist in that, but she did an amazing job. I was just looking for it I haven't written it down. Yeah, if you listen to that again, she was very powerful. And the lyrics, I'll just quote this. There's a guy who says this, because there's no other lyrics in it apart from this woman's wailing. That's not a nice way of putting it, but her.
No, it was.
Yeah. It's wailing beautifully, is what I say. And the gentleman says, "And I am not frightened of dying. Any time will do. I don't mind. Why should I be frightened of dying? There's no reason for it. You've got to go sometime." And it's so powerful, especially after following the lyrics of Time.
Yeah,
the track called Time.
That's all a bit deep for us, isn't it?
It's deep. Yeah, it was powerful. I was speaking quickly. I will finish my input on this by saying I was speaking to a friend at church about it, and because I knew he must be a fan, because he's in our worship band and he wears a T-shirt with the Prism logo, the album, the Prism Spectrum logo. That's the album sleeve cover. And so I thought, I bet you must be a Pink Floyd fan. And so I asked him about it on Sunday.
No, I never heard of it.
It's just an old T-shirt.
Yeah.
And I told him I'd listened to it 3 times over the last 2 days, and he said, this was last Sunday, and he said, how many times? I said, yes, 3 times in the last 2 days. Oh, try 3,000 times over the last 10 years, or however many years it had been. He didn't say a number of years. He said, I predict I've listened to that album around about 3,000 times. It's my favourite album of all time. And he said, I'm not a big Pink Floyd fan, but he obviously knows that album inside out. He says, every time I listen to it, I hear something different. Yeah. And I can understand that. Yeah. Which is kind of, and I'm not over spiritualising it, but
it's like the Bible.
I was just going to say that. Every time you read something from the Bible. Now, he quickly, remember, this is a church man who's in the worship band. He quickly said, you do know that album is the #1 album voted for by stoners, in other words, drug addicts, drug takers. Yeah, stoners. And I can understand that as well. It's a bit of a trip, isn't it? Yeah, it's a psychedelic trip. You could imagine yourself dancing around on a beach around a fire, and a bit of drug-induced.
Devon doesn't have to imagine it.
Going on. That aside, and no doubt, and it put me in mind a lot of some of the early Fleetwood Mac. I'm a big Fleetwood Mac fan. And I think you've both picked that up from me, haven't you, a bit?
Indeed.
You like a bit of Fleetwood Mac. But the old Peter Green Fleetwood Mac from the 70s, the late 60s. Oh, what do you mean, you don't like that era?
No,
I like it.
Yeah. When you listen to the Peter Green Fleetwood Mac, then you can here now. I think that predates Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon, but I do think it's that era, isn't it? You know, and we're talking about, we're not the experts on this, and we can't presume to be. But no, I'd encourage anybody to do what we did for our homework and just give it a go. It's a beautiful piece of music, but a piece of art, I guess you could call it. You know, it's not going to be to everybody's flavour, but it tastes it. But it's still worth a try, and I'm glad you guys give it a go.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Overall, I quite enjoyed it as well.
Overall, enjoyed it. That's good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yes, you can pull it to pieces, I guess. But
Yeah, even there's no point.
no.
I mean, I think I heard most of the songs before, but but not obviously all together. It wasn't obviously as you do listen to a whole album. It is the journey of listening to that album in the way that it was intended.
I'm glad. Yeah, you picked up on that. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's interesting. It's the only one I'd listened to before is Money, with that bass line. Yeah, everyone knows.
Yeah. Oh, very good. Good conversation about that. Thank you.
Yeah, 10 out of 10.
Well,
Pat ourselves on the back.
Let's wrap this thing up and get out of it, shall we?
Okay, you got somewhere to go.
Yeah.
Okay, then that moves us on to our
It's homework time and goodbye.
homework. Okay, guys. When you say that, it puts fear and dread into you, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
Going back to school
Yeah,
days.
it doesn't
you think, oh no, not homework.
Yeah.
But sir, it's the weekend.
Yep.
Oh dear. Okay. Well, I suggested last week's homework, so I'm not going to be the one to suggest this week's.
This is Ford's turn.
Okay.
Yeah, go on, Ford.
Now we've
Your
mentioned.
turn.
Oh, thank you. The floor is mine, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, thanks. I think we should do the one that was brought up the other day, or the other episode. The idea of playing through Red Dead Redemption 2, at least for a bit. I don't know, half hour? What do you think? Hour?
An hour. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm done.
I think we
gonna
can afford an hour. Our previous homework was 40 minutes. The one before that was a whole film, a couple of hours. So an hour's okay, isn't it?
Okay.
Yeah, I'm done.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Are
Play
we
for an hour?
starting from the beginning or just wherever you are?
Where
No.
did you go? I think because obviously you
For me,
can't
it'll be
all
the
do
beginning
the
because
same
I've never
thing.
played it.
You can't
No.
all do the same thing, so you kind of got to just
Choose a
try and
side
review
mission.
The game. I don't know.
Choose a side mission of some sort, because we're all probably going to be at different places in story mode. So if you choose one of the side missions, it doesn't have to be the same one, does it?
All
We
right.
can all play a different side mission and then just comment on it and say what you liked about it, what you didn't like about it.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
We do need to get some gaming in here, don't we?
We do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then maybe next time we can look at probably reading something.
Oh,
we've
reading.
Done some watching, listening, playing,
Nerd.
reading. Yes, we'll choose something to read in next week's podcast. Is that okay?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. And then we can go back to watching something again, a bit less involved. Yeah.
Oh, brilliant. Right up my
Brilliant.
street.
All right, that sounds
Okay,
good.
so play some Red Dead Redemption then.
Yeah. And also, obviously, if you at home want to play, let us know. Email us.
Play.
At theoryofanything@hotmail.com. And tell us what you think about the game, or if you played it a lot before. Just give us your MO basically. Hit me up.
MO.
Or
Okay.
if you've got anything to say, any suggestions at all, hit us up.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe.
Like,
Yeah.
comment, subscribe.
hit,
twice.
hit the bell notification.
Do it all twice.
Yep.
Listening
log
is
in your mum's account and yeah.
Yeah. Do it on anyone's video. Yeah. Just do it.
Yay.
Right.
We appreciate that support. Thank you very much, everyone.
Cool.
Okay.
Excellent.
Final thoughts, anyone? Big. I got it wrong last time. A big
Props.
what? Props to Trinity, who's supporting and helping with the production. Thank you for that. Your sister,
Yeah.
and
Your
my
daughter. Yeah.
beloved daughter. Yeah.
Yep.
And look forward to seeing you guys again round the microphone.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.